Right, and we're back. Now let's take a look at what I did. So if you remember those items this guy had, right? The stored items, I took those out and checked what they were on the wiki because I was kind of unsure. Stuff like this. So these were not in the console version from what I remember. So again, I did check. And apparently they are all parts of DLC that were available to the console version, but I never purchased that DLC, so I never knew about them. And they come for free with the PC version. So you get all the DLCs from the console version for free. So I had a look at some of these armors, some of the other items that were available, and lucky for me, there was a... I don't think I can actually show you, but there was a head item, a monocle of sorts, that actually had a significantly higher value than the other items which are in here. So most of these items have just the generic value of like a couple thousand coins, which is not very much, and I kind of wanted to keep as many of the items as possible just in case I need them, even though you can buy them from a different place, but obviously they cost a lot more to buy than they sell for at a vendor. But that monocle item I was talking about actually had a sell value of around 300,000 gold. Now, 300,000 gold is not that much in the late game, but in the early game, it can buy you pretty much whatever you need. So I sold that one item, and I bought all of the gear that I wanted with that gold. So for my character, I pretty much just bought from this guy, the weapons vendor. I pretty much just bought like the most expensive stuff he had that had like the best stats. So a sledgehammer and a bunch of just generic good things. This item I didn't buy from him. This was available. This was one of those DLC items rather. So I just equipped that. Same for this, I think. But all of the rest is just bought from this guy. And again, this is just his starting inventory, so they're not super impressive items, but considering that you're not supposed to really have this much money early game, I would say that my character is pretty well decked out. Now, you may have noticed that my main pawn right here is dressed up as a queen, and that's because she's wearing the queen's armor. So, let's see if I can show you this. There you go. Set of queen's clothing. Now, this was one of the items which was part of the DLC set as well. It doesn't sell for very much, but it has a damn lot of stats, as you might see. Quite high resistances, quite high defenses. Now, this is a costume item, or outfit item rather, which means it occupies all the slots. So, the slots you see here, head, torso, arms, legs, and stuff, all of these are occupied by this single piece. So that's why it has such insanely high stats when compared to, for example, this piece of armor, which just occupies one slot. Still, it has pretty good stats, and it did save me the trouble of actually looking for single piece items for my pawn, so I just went ahead and equipped her with it. A thing you will notice here is that down there next to outfits is the symbol for the female gender. So this is one of those things I was talking about when choosing my character's gender. Certain armors and outfits and items, and later on mobs, all work differently for different genders. So this outfit can obviously only be worn by females, whereas I have to go to the bank guy again. There's a bunch of items in here from the DLC items that are only usable by males. So these things, the priest vestments, and I think one more item. No, that's it. And for females, you have the nun vestments and the lady trekwear and the queen set that you saw in my pawn.
What will it be today? Have your pick.
Right. Forgot to talk to him about skills. When it comes to skills, for me, I just got some random abilities. I haven't really looked through many of the abilities of the two-handed warrior, so I'm not really familiar with them. I just got two of the abilities which looked good, so Savage Lash and Upward Strike. For my pawn, I pretty much got all the abilities for her since I couldn't find any good augments, and I want to keep her a mage, so she had a lot of points left over. So I just got like a bunch of abilities and equipped them on her. As you can see, she has quite a few things available to her. So the main thing that I needed was Holy Boon and Dark Boon. Now, fire, ice, and such might be more suitable for most encounters, but there are certain enemies which are immune to everything except Holy or Dark. So it's very good to have these two available just in case. She also has the standard healing spell, Anodyne, or whatever it's called.
What will it be today? Have your pick. Come again.
I have not replaced the generic pawns. This one, Lana and Rin. I will kind of do that on camera since it doesn't take that much work. But another place that I visited, and it'll take a little bit to get there, but another place that I visited, there's a kind of black market shop in the city which sells some very expensive items, which surprisingly are not very good, but they are very expensive. And I visited it to buy a few things. Don't remember exactly what I bought from it. Now that I think about it, I don't think I actually bought anything from it, but I did visit it. This one. Now, that sign is, yeah. So this place is called the Black Cat. I was trying to figure out what that sign said. I don't think it says anything. It's just gibberish, but the Black Cat is the black market shop, and besides being able to buy stuff here, you can also commission forgeries. Now, you can make him create a forgery of pretty much any item you want, with some exceptions like these, but you can make a forgery of pretty much any item, and it'll not really have the effects of that item, but it'll work the same when it comes to quests. So let's say an NPC tells you, I want you to retrieve this golden statue from this temple. And you go to the temple, you get the golden statue, but it has a really good effect. Like, say, while it's on your person, it gives you some benefits. And you want to complete the quest, but you don't want to lose the effects of the statue. You can come to this guy, he can make you a forgery, and you can use the forgery to complete the quest, but keep the real thing for yourself. Now, a lot of the quests have repercussions if you complete them in this way, rather than actually giving the guy the actual item. But we'll get to that a bit later. Let me show you what the shop here has. Now, the shop here sells fairy stones. The item which I told you about, which can teleport you to a port crystal. These are very handy, and they are of unlimited quantity. As you can see, I can buy 110 of them. There are some random items like a hoe, a spade, a scythe, a hammer, and such. These are not supremely useful, but there's a skeleton key. I think this is what I bought. In fact, this can unlock dungeon cells. It's not really that important at this point, but I just bought it just to have it. He also does sell Wakestone Shard. 3 of these make an actual Wakestone. This is the item that I mentioned, which can revive you when you die, because otherwise when you die, you die. He also does sell a bunch of really expensive items, as you can see. He also sells all of the DLC items. So this one, the Ruminator's Monaco, is the one I sold. As you can see, he's selling it for about double what I sold it for. I sold it for about 300 something thousand. He's selling it for 780,000, which is an absurd amount. So this thing doesn't actually do anything really. It just looks cool. So it wasn't that hard to get rid of it, honestly. Some of these items are alright. I mean, some of them have pretty unique looks, like the Hero's Hood looks like a crown, the Chaos Helmet looks amazing, and same for the weapons. The weapons have some very conditional effects, like they're not very good. Like this is not very good, this is not very good. Most of these are not very good. Some of them have special effects like this one, which is especially effective against foes of living bone, but it still doesn't really make up for the fact that it has really shit stats. They do look cool though, so if you want to go for coolness factor, these are pretty great. Still, they're very expensive, and you probably won't be able to get them early game. Let me see if I can show you some of the actual armor sets. Yeah, there we go. So these are the actual outfits. You have the lady's garb, the armor which I forgot her name, but the woman we met earlier is wearing. Some of these, again, very cool looking items. You might notice that you can't even preview an item you can't equip, so I can't equip this and I can't even preview it. The other items, when I select them, I will see a preview of what they look like, but if I can't equip the item, I don't even see a preview, which is weird, but I guess it kind of makes sense.
I'm sure you'll find all you
Anyway, besides that, I also bought some consumables, just some generic stuff which restores health, stamina, and blah blah blah. The shop is next to the blacksmith, pretty much. And that's pretty much everything I did. It took me a surprisingly long time because I was trying to figure out a way to get decent items without having to sell anything, but just seeing that 300,000 Monaco, which doesn't really do anything for me, I mean, it was too tempting, so. Plus, it's not like these items will make the game easy mode or anything. They're just a very good starting point. So, the last thing I have not mentioned is the carry weight you might see in this window. So you will see that my 3 party members are at very light. I am at light. Now, carry weight determines how quickly you run, how much stamina you have, or rather how much stamina you use up for abilities, and it determines, well, that's pretty much it, I guess. It also determines a few other things, but they're pretty minor, and they are only for specific classes. So stamina usage and run speed are the main two. Now, the warrior class has a bit of a higher carry capacity than the other classes, if I remember right, so I can carry a few more things without going into the next class. So I believe the classes are very light, normal, heavy, and very heavy, with very heavy being basically like overburdened, so you can't run and stuff. It's kind of a hassle to deal with all these things, especially since the consumable items do weigh a certain amount. And, well, armor, weapons, and stuff weigh a whole damn lot, but you get used to it, kind of.
State your business. Pawn Guild, is it? Alright.
Right. So, our next part of the main quest will be to go to the Pawn Guild, and that's where we'll replace these shittier pawns as well.
Might we ask the locals of the Pawn Guild?
So this is the Pawn Guild.
Welcome, Arisen. We have this pawn is called Barnaby. The guild serves as a place. The Everfall lies but for now.
I feel more familiar with this.
Alright, let's get some pawns. I think I have to talk to him again to continue the quest, but first we're gonna get some pawns. So our main pawn is a mage. Alright, so we're gonna get a fighter and a ranger. Yeah. Let's see. Let's try these ones. Well, I'm not going to be too picky.
You cannot take on any more followers without releasing one of your current companions. I am on.
Just recruit 2 of these. I guess this one.
Yes, Arisen. You cannot take on any more followers without releasing one of your current. I am on.
Right.
May our path.
This is a place quite restful to my...
It grieves me to burden. I would beg your you have my... Beyond lies the Everfall, and we pawns have long served as keepers of the entrance. But since the dragon's coming, if it be some, I ask that you seek out the call. The Everfall is a place unique, which is why I ask you.
Right, so he wants to check this kind of dungeon place. Now, with him mentioning stones, I remembered something which I didn't talk about, which is, let's see if I can find it here. Don't I? That's weird. What I wanted to mention is that I did not buy any of those. I guess I'll have to go back. Oh well. I did not buy any of those port crystals, which are sold in the Black Cat, because one of the DLC items, which again come for free with the PC edition, is a eternal port crystal, which is just a port crystal which you can use indefinitely, so you never need to buy extra port crystals, which is actually very handy because when I was playing on console I did spend quite a bit on port crystals because I really could not be bothered to run around that much. Now I think I must have left it here because it doesn't seem to be in my inventory.
Is not the last we'll call upon.
Have your pick. What will it be today?
Yeah, here we go. Eternal Fairy Stone. Right, the only difference is oh no, it can be used for everywhere. I thought it was only for Grand Sorn, but it says the location for port crystal, so right. And these lift stones are teleports to the DLC, Bitter Black Isle. But they can only be used once you're already on Bitter Black Isle, so I did mention that the place is pretty much a huge dungeon. These are used to get out, because running out is not really an option most of the time. Anyway, let's go check out that place.
Pawn Guild stands ahead. It is a gathering place for my kind.
Oh, and while I'm passing by, let me also show you the place where you can talk to your pawn and tell them to shut up. Which is this chair right here. There you go. Right, so you can sit down, if it'll work, okay. You can sit down with your pawn.
I focus first on the weakest foes to rid the field of nuisance.
And she
Does
asks
this
you a bunch
please
of
you,
questions. Yes.
Understood. I shall. I try to speak or remain silent as the situation demands. Would you have me continue it
Yes.
as you wish? Should fate see you fall and come to rise again, how shall I offer my support?
As you are.
All right. My all is yours.
Yeah, you might be noticing the
Should I
problem with this
separate
system.
no? How shall I voice my anguish? All right.
So you sit down, she asks you a bunch of questions, which, or he, whatever, depends on your pawn's gender, obviously, but your pawn asks you a bunch of questions which you can't really choose. It's just things that they think you might want to change. And you have to select answers to all her questions, or his questions. So they can ask you like 10 things and you have to answer all of them, even if you want to change only one thing. Again, the pawn customization aspect in terms of how they behave is seriously flawed. But it doesn't detract that much from the experience.
The Everfall is fewer
Oh, he doesn't want to tell us anything else. Okay, let's just go in. Right. So, if you look down, that is pretty much where we need to go. Now, I do believe there is fall damage. However, I am not going to risk it either way. I will just walk down. If I remember correctly, there are a couple of gates that need to be opened anyway, so even if I could jump down, it would probably not be a good idea. Oh, some spiders. Yes. One of the benefits of big weapons, they have huge cleave arcs. Oh, and this is the light attack. This is the heavy attack. Not very useful against spiders. I do believe we can kill these bats. There we go. By the amount of HP on these guys, I'm gonna say that they're probably significantly higher level than me. Now there are no direct level requirements for anything, but certain encounters are extremely punishing if you go there too early. I don't believe it's the case for this place, but it is quite annoying to complete this quest when you are low level. And I do not really remember what the level the suggested level rather was for this. There we go. Holy weapon should increase our damage against these undead foes quite handily. Now I can show off some of the skills I got. This is one of them. Upward Strike. Again, these are not super useful against these foes. Let's see if we can find an enemy to show off the other one. The other one is basically a charged smash, which makes it even less useful against these guys. Let me show it off. And that's the other skill. As you did notice, it is a charge skill. You basically press it, and you keep holding the R1 button, which is the button to open up this menu. Like when you hold R1, this menu shows up. And when your character flashes, is the best time to release the ability, but you can release it anytime you wish. And to do so, you just release the R1 button. So to explain it a bit simpler, I press R1, I press X, I flash, I release R1, and the ability happens. Again, the flashing indicator is only for when the ability is most effective. It doesn't really mean that it's completely useless or won't work or anything of the sort. If you release it earlier or later, it just means it'll do like less damage. Now these rift fragments are what gives you RC, or rift crystals. Again, in the early game, you cannot really get that many of them. You can get a few from drops like this, but as noticed, we gained like 100 from that. So, not a very effective way of getting them. Later on, in Bitter Black Isle especially, you will be getting a lot of rift crystals. Oh boy.